Hello everybody, welcome back to yet another video. Now, the old saying, never look a gift horse in the mouth. Well, as you guys all know, I upgraded quite a while ago from, 4790K to 3950X, and I left with a motherboard that was a little bit iffy that, I didn't use anymore. So, here's the thing, I was speaking to this guy, and actually got around to trading my motherboard for a load of parts off him, including a power supply, which is kind of great considering how hard they are to get a hold of at the moment. A cable mod kit, which again pretty nice, but also this right here is an Asus R9 290 4GB. And the thing about this is that I essentially got this for free once you add the price to everything else. Now, of course, there's no question about it. This isn't a free card, basically. For most people, if you're wanting one of these, you're going to have to pay for it, and the price can vary quite dramatically, but I guess the question should be, is the price actually justified? Is this old card worth getting still in 2020? I mean, this is based on the Hawaii architecture? This is years old now. But is it still good? I guess that's really where this video sort of came to. It's like, well, I've got this sitting around. I might as well go ahead and try it out and, put it to some use, see what it can do, see whether it could, I don't know, do some extra work for me, or whatever. And while the results end up quite surprising me. Now, don't get me wrong, the R9 290 is an old card, and I'm not gonna lie, this is probably one of my favourite cooler designs of all time, not because it's an efficient cooler, just because it looks badass. I'll probably get some nice close-up for you guys in a bit, but I just love the way this thing looks. But yeah, anyway, so Radeon, it's not generally something that most high-end people are going to use, but I think this is a surprisingly capable GPU. And mainly what I usually use it for these days now is, one, as my secondary output. It's sort of replaced the GT 1030 in my main system, and on top of that, it's also pretty decent at folding. This actually, I think it makes about 325,000 points per day. I mean, granted, it's not the most efficient points per day, especially considering the fact that you need an 8-pin and a 6-pin for it, but for someone like me who's got a very powerful power supply designed for SLI and that lot, but why not put it to use whilst I'm not really using it? So that's sort of where the main premise of where its actual general use is, but obviously not everybody's me. Not everybody's going to just want an extra card for the sake of having an extra card or whatever. Some people are actually going to need this because it's all they can afford, it's a pretty cheap card. I mean, generally speaking, you can find these for about £60 to £120. It's not a brilliantly low price, but again, it's not brilliantly high either. So, how does it actually perform then in game? In which case then, it is time for us to jump into our usual load of benchmarks, other things, all usual goodness, and see how the hell it actually performs in game. tell you what, not bad, eh? Like, some of the performance, especially in stuff like Dirt Rally, this thing is shockingly capable. Now, granted, Dirt Rally is not the best one for doing a huge variety of comparisons, and as we've seen, it can vary quite wildly in how many frames it'll render by the end, but that's really not bad, especially considering the fact that this is only a 4GB card. Now, of course, that is an issue in 2020, in that some newer titles, say Metro Exodus, for example, might use more than 4GB of RAM, in which case this thing is going to start to feel that slowdown. But for the vast majority of things, it's actually a more than competent card. Like, you can quite happily use this to play Far Cry 5, maybe even Red Dead Redemption 2 if you really feel like it. I'm not saying it's the best idea, because obviously there are more powerful and better cards, but of course, not everybody can afford them. You know, it's a real concern for some people, and hell, for me, I got this for basically free, and I'm very happy with it. The question of whether you should get this card really comes down to you, because granted, this card, it does run hot, and if you do buy one second hand, the chances are you're probably going to have to repay, simply because, yeah, the amount of dust that builds up in these, mainly because they're blower cards, it's pretty damn apparent. Like, when I first got this, you know, of course, you've got your heatsink there. Put it this way, at the heatsink's intake here, there was a wall of dust about that thick. That's a lot of dust. That is a heck of a lot of dust. Kind of disgusting, to be honest, but it is what it is, you know. These old cars, they will build up a lot of dust, so generally speaking, repaste, because it will save your life as well as cut down temperatures quite a bit. And for the love of God, just clean out the dust out of them, because it makes a hell of a difference. Like, before I dusted it, it was only clocking up to like 647 megahertz, and now it clocks over to like around about 1,000, you know. It makes a huge difference. So the question, should you get one? Well, if you've got a mid-range system, say, a little quad-core or something like that, maybe something similar to an upcoming video, maybe like the average PC, but you don't really have a decent graphics card for it, well, maybe this could be a good choice for you. I mean, it's relatively cheap, which is great for a budget build. You know, granted, it does require a bit of power, which means you can't really skimp out on a power supply for it. But if you do have a decent power supply and, you know, a decent enough, you know, CPU for now that's got some integrated graphics, this could be a really good upgrade path. It's just a cheap, get into gaming somewhat pretty damn well. Obviously, there's better options out there. There always will be better options out there, but for the most part, I'd say this is actually a really convincing buy. It's pretty damn stable. The graphics drivers, if you're a person like me who has multiple graphics cards in a system, including a 1080 Ti, 9290, which are NVIDIA and AMD, don't install the drivers, just use the Windows one on this, because otherwise it doesn't play nice at all. Just don't, trust me, it's a bad time. So don't do that if you're a person like me. But of course, the actual drivers themselves, when you just run them, you know, in its own system where there's not a bunch of other graphics cards that can cause conflicts, it works really, really nicely. So, it's a good card. You want a game? I recommend it. If you're a collector, I also recommend it, because just look at it, it's gorgeous. And also, this Asus one specifically, I seem to see a lot of these all over the internet. I don't know why, it's just this one Asus R9290 when you're looking for a reference one. It's always this one. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on it. If you want one, you can get one. If you're looking for a graphics card that's relatively cheap and pretty good at gaming, get one. If you're looking for something that doesn't use a ton of power, well, tough luck, that you're out of luck there. But yeah, that is where I'm going to go ahead and call it for today. So, like the video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it. Any thoughts or questions, leave a form of comment down below. Also down there, you can check out in the description the links for my Discord, Patreon, Facebook, and Twitch page, all of which, you know, feel free to join, and I'm sure you'll go ahead and enjoy us if you do go ahead and feel free to join, and of course, I will see you there. Anyway, this has been the 117th Con, signing off. Stay safe, folks, and I will catch you all in the next one. Until then, ta-ra.